Gary Sanchez has a black hole in his swing. Let's talk about it. Anyone who cared enough to click on this video probably knows a good amount about the hype that once surrounded Gary Sanchez. As a top prospect since his teens, he's always been highly touted for his hitting ability and crazy arm strength. In 2016, these attributes were on display in Gary's first real stretch in the bigs. Gary hit 20 homers in less than 2 months and, in my opinion, deserved to win Rookie of the Year. His 2017 was excellent as well, although his fantastic offensive output was overshadowed by his blocking troubles and teammate Aaron Judge breaking all sorts of records. Gary's 2018 wasn't great, as injuries took about half of his season and he wasn't great when he did play. 2019 looked like a return to form, as Gary once again was an all-star, although he did face more injury troubles. Out of catchers with at least 800 plate appearances from 2016 to 2019, Sanchez leads them all in OPS by a sizable margin. The focus with him every offseason was always improving his glove and keeping him healthy, as he was a serviceable but below-average framer and pitch blocker. Maybe 2020 is the season that he puts everything together, Yankees fans all thought collectively, but in the scope of his career, 2020 was Gary Sanchez's Hindenburg.
Not quite to the mooring mast. All the humanity and all the fans are just screaming around it.
The 60-game season in 2020 led to some unusual stats. Some players put up complete outlier seasons that can be attributed to small sample size based on good or bad luck. It's hard to judge a player's regression or progression in this type of year, but with Gary Sanchez, something was clearly wrong. In a way, his 2020 was a representation of everyone's 2020. Clearly, something was off from the very beginning, but it just kept getting worse as the year went. The optimism that it's just a rough stretch that will be over soon fades as the weeks pass. By just taking a look at his slash line, you could tell that he was having a dreadful year, but there were other underwhelming seasons that could be chalked up to bad luck. Max Muncy, Nick Castellanos, and Shohei Ohtani all had uncharacteristically poor hitting seasons, but they're all playing very well this year thanks to their luck regressing to the means. But the same problems that Gary faced last season are still present. Gary Sanchez forgot how to hit fastballs in 2020, and he lost his starting job to a 30-year-old catcher who spent 95% of his 20s in the minors in Kyle Higashioka. The most intimidating catcher to face in the prior 4 seasons wasn't even trusted to bat in the playoffs by his own manager. So far this season, he hasn't fixed the fastball issue and the league has taken notice. In 2018, the scouting report on Gary was to get him out with sliders low and away. He saw nearly as many sliders as 4-seamers that year. But as his ability to catch up to fastballs, particularly high fastballs, has diminished, nearly 40% of the pitches that he sees are 4-seamers and 64% of the pitches he sees are some type of fastball. Last year, he had the second highest whiff rate on 4-seamers out of batters with at least 50 plate appearances, and this year he's ranked 4th and has whiffed on fastballs even more, despite having an entire offseason to correct the issue. Sanchez is not the worst fastball hitter in the league, but he sure is damn close, just a few seasons after being one of the best fastball hitters in the league. Throwing him a 4-seamer in the top half or slightly above the zone will result in a swing and miss over half the time he swings the bat, and he swings the bat on those pitches nearly every time. So why is this happening? More importantly, how is he going to fix it? Going into the season, this problem was brought to my attention by Trevor Plouffe's sequence video for John Boy Media. He mentions that Gary's leg kick is starting too late and he's not prepared to track a 95+ mile/per-hour fastball. In the at-bat that Plouffe breaks down, Sanchez misses multiple dead red fastballs that he pretty much knew were coming before crushing a grand slam when he finally adjusts and gets the barrel around in time. Just watching him play, it's evident that he's fouling off and missing pitches that he used to hammer, and it's frustrating watching somebody who seemingly has one big issue to fix carry the issue into a whole new season. So how do the Yanks and Gary fix it? Well, going back to the sequence video, Plouffe mentions that Gary has to get started quicker and be ready to hit the fastball. He has a massive leg kick, so just being a tick off messes with his whole swing mechanically. He has been mashing hanging breaking balls and even had better plate discipline this year, but the high fastball is still the glaring hole in his swing. In his first plate appearance of the year against Hungjin Ryu, Sanchez hit a first pitch homer on a fastball. His stride and timing looked closer to the old Gary. He homered again the next game too, this time on a hanging slider. But as the season's progressed, the 2020 trends have returned, and his bat is once again lagging behind. This got me thinking that Sanchez, hitting coach Marcus Timms, and the Yankees have definitely looked into this problem and worked on it in the offseason, but any adjustments clearly haven't stuck for one reason or another. It's hard to break bad habits with a swing that contains this many moving parts. If I were Sanchez, I would consider getting rid of the big stride altogether. Gary is strong enough to hit the ball out without the big leg kick, and he has used the abbreviated toe tap before in pitchers' counts, similarly to how Yermin Mercedes cuts out the stride altogether with 2 strikes. The perfect example of this potential adjustment came on May 11th of this year. He hit a Josh Fleming fastball out with a small stride because Fleming's delivery is intentionally quick to throw off the timing of the batter. This was completely inadvertent, and he hit the ball about 400 feet to the opposite field bleachers. The sinker was located right on the corner, low and away, and Gary put the perfect swing on it, maybe the best swing I've seen out of him all year. Even Even if he would be sacrificing some power going to the full-time toe tap, he still has enough to be the most intimidating catcher in the league if he's able to catch up to the fastballs in the zone. Gary has been in the league for over 5 years now, and as much as the Yankees understand that he has the potential to be the best catcher in baseball, and as much as I defend him because I believe in his talent, he does have to make changes soon. The hole in his swing has only been present for about 3 or 4 months worth of games, which is not long enough to judge how well he'll hit in the future. Although his results this year have been an improvement from last year's disaster season, he still whiffs on fastballs at an incredibly high rate. Like I said, I think he needs to make some serious adjustments with his load and stride and focus on getting the front foot down before the ball leaves the pitcher's hand. It does appear that he has cut down on his stride a bit during some recent at-bats, and he has better numbers over the last week or two. Let's just hope that these adjustments are permanent, because if he falls into another slump, he will be at the end of his rope with the Yankees. The only way he'll find himself in pinstripes in years to come is by putting in the work and making the adjustments to climb his way back up.